What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today is Friday, January 26th, and Bitcoin is putting in what looks like a higher low within a major parabolic trend. And as I'm recording this video, the S&P 500 is a couple minutes away from closing the highest weekly candle ever. An S&P all-time high break has been a past requirement for Bitcoin bull markets, so this is a very positive sign. And as the S&P is breaking its all-time high, Bitcoin is setting in another major exponential higher low. And this is what we've been talking about for a while now, and a lot of people doubted that this was even possible, and people did not want to hear it. But here we are. Against the crowd, Bitcoin puts in a higher low. In the Bitcoin chart that is most impressive, the weekly chart, Bitcoin's weekly is now engulfing the previous weekly candle body where we opened. This is very bullish. You could call it a bullish hammer inside of a major uptrend. And going back to the daily chart on Kraken Pro, this bounce came in right where we needed it to. 38K is now the support zone, and this is constructive price action. Previous resistance as new support. Those intros that I make on this channel, they're for fun. I like to have fun. I like to make these edits. It's not to sort of claim that the parabolic trend is fully confirmed or anything of that sort. You know, markets are always unpredictable. Anything can happen, but what I've come to understand is that when Bitcoin is trending, it's trending, right? It usually maintains high levels of momentum. And with the stock market at a new all-time high, it's going to boost speculator confidence. And that's what we're seeing now. Below 40K, the demand outweighed the supply. So we bounced. We hop over to the MACD on the weekly. This is something to keep in mind, is that the MACD is showing that we've had negative momentum building and we are near a MACD cross down. Now, if we are able to avoid a cross down where we come back to that neutral point on the MACD histogram and we bounce from there, that would show a high degree of momentum. If we go back in time and we look at 2020, right before the major run up to 65,000, before we broke the all-time high on the weekly, Bitcoin was sitting at that 910K level. You can see the weekly MACD showed negative momentum building, and then we were able to avoid the cross down and we ended up bouncing. Price comes down again. Bitcoin shows negative momentum again, has a sort of a fake out, a little bit of a cross down, but support was held, right? We never had price confirmation of a breakdown. We still had higher lows, and that price action confirmation would have been if we broke into a lower low with a MACD cross down. Then that would have showed a lot more bearishness, but we never had a breakdown. We kept those higher lows and the MACD ended up trending up, showing positive momentum. So we avoided basically that bearish outcome on the MACD. And so a similar thing goes for right now, and that is that the negative momentum has been building. And if Bitcoin is able to get a bounce here, which it seems like it is on the weekly right now, and we're able to start to pop back up, that would show a high degree of momentum. The bulls are maintaining the momentum, and we would likely see a push to new highs. Yes, I'm going to say it, guys, to new highs. This is a parabolic trend as of now. And if we bounce from here, I think we would keep this momentum up with the stock market at all-time highs. I don't see a reason why we wouldn't. I think grayscale selling pressure is probably going to start waning, and the demand will begin to outweigh the supply once again. Now, a lot of people are probably going to be asking me about the parabolic sort of curvature. They're going to say, Kev, if the price comes over to this line and breaks it, is the trend over? Well, it is definitely not something to ignore when you break a parabolic trend line. That can bring in pretty quick negative momentum, pretty quick downside takes place usually when you break a parabolic trend. But the parabolic trend is still valid even if Bitcoin comes up, hits a lower high, dips below that line, as long as we maintain higher lows. Who's to say that this trend line has been fully broken? And I know people laugh at that. People laugh at, oh, you adjusted the trend line. Well, guess what? It's still a parabolic trend, exponential, right? It's only until Bitcoin starts to sort of break below these lows that it starts to become really invalidated. If we're not able to maintain higher lows and we break down, and we become horizontal and maybe even get a lower low, I mean, now at that point, inside that box right there, that's when the parabolic trend is sort of invalidated. But seeing higher lows with a little bit of sideways action, you can always just pull the parabola over a little bit and it's still maintained. Yes, that is okay to do. That is acceptable. Why do I say that? Well, if you go back to 2017, and this is what happens when the market gets a lot of momentum, is you have these quick drives to the upside that have short-term breakdowns and expand into larger parabolas multiple times in a row. So definitely keep it in mind that there is no one size fits all. There are parabolas within parabolas within parabolas, but it becomes pretty obvious when this type of a trend is no longer parabolic. Like if you go to log scale and you just draw a trend line up, if Bitcoin ends up coming back to the low 30s, well then it's just a trend line, it's not a parabola. But it's still an uptrend line. It's still an uptrend. That's the funny part. There's so much room for Bitcoin to move and still be bullish. It could come all the way down to 32, hit that previous resistance as new support, constructive price action, hit the major uptrend line and still be bullish. The bears have a lot of work to do before I'm convinced that this is all over. I mean, this dip we had was really a tiny, tiny dip. I mean, this is really nothing. We're still seeing exponential higher lows, and we'll have to see how this develops. It's not a guarantee that it's gonna follow this line. It can always come up and then break down and become a little larger. Just like 2017, it can become a little bit larger along the way. There are so many possibilities on how this could play out. But for now, the parabolic trend line is sitting here. That is what is at least confirmed, our new low on the weekly and the daily, higher low here for Bitcoin. It was great to see all that demand below 40,000. So this trend is still strong, still intact. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, smash the like. And if you want to support this channel, be sure to subscribe. Helps us out a lot. Hit that bell button and also join the Patreon if you guys want extra content. And be sure to sign up for Kraken Pro using that link below. And I'll see you all in the next video.